or video could expose wartime atrocities. In Bucha, the evidence is overwhelming. From photos to phone records and decoded call signs used by commanders of Russian radio channels, there is no denying it. Now, we know exactly who the perpetrators are. With the technology we have at our fingertips today, impunity for war crimes is frankly impossible, so long as we put the work in it. And that is what we must do, because the number of possible crimes committed in this war is simply beyond belief. The forcible transfer and deportation of Ukrainian children is one of the gravest crimes committed, an extreme violation of human rights. But the impact on children at home in Ukraine is also devastating. According to Save the Children, approximately 4 million school-aged children have experienced educational interruptions since the full-scale war began. Close to 4,000 education institutions have been damaged. More than 10% of the country's education infrastructure has been completely destroyed. Attacks on health facilities have endangered the lives of children, including those with chronic diseases. Birth rates in Ukraine have dropped by 30% during this war. In fact, fertility rates in Ukraine are now amongst the lowest in the world. Russia is destroying Ukraine's present while denying the country its future. The European Union is part of the international coalition for the return of the Ukrainian children. We will do all we can to return the children to their families in Ukraine. The EU has also imposed sanctions on more than 70 individuals responsible for the deportation and forced transfer of children, as well as the re-education and militarization of Ukrainian children. Russia's campaign against human life and dignity truly knows no limits. We also see this in the reports of enforced disappearances, torture, extrajudicial executions, sexual violence against civilian detainees, and prisoners of war by Russian armed forces in occupied territories. The EU will continue raising the cases at every opportunity wherever we can, because no civilian detainee can be forgotten. We must also continue to advocate for the protection of prisoners of war and call on Russia to uphold its long-standing international commitments under international humanitarian law. A just, comprehensive and lasting peace based on the UN Charter and the international law must include the exchange of prisoners of war and release of civilian detainees, along with the return of forcibly transferred and deported Ukrainian children. Every returnee must be fully accounted for and integrated back to the Ukrainian society. Honourable members, the EU has supported Ukraine's efforts on accountability and justice from day one, from evidence collection through the case building, prosecution, preparing claims and operations for victims. The EU is a firm supporter of the International Criminal Court, which has issued 6 arrest warrants, including President Putin, Russia's Commissioner for Children's Rights, Maria Lvova-Belova, former Russian Defense Minister and current Secretary of the Security Council of the Russian Federation, Sergei Shoigu, and the General Chief of Staff, Valery Gerasimov. Let us remember that the arrest warrants are only issued after gathering the required evidence. Most criminal cases, around 170,000, have been opened now, will be investigated and prosecuted by Ukrainian authorities. This is why the European Union is also supporting the Prosecutor General's Office of Ukraine. We are strengthening its capacity to investigate and prosecute international crimes committed in Ukraine, including through civilian European Union advisory mission. And for the specific crime of aggression, the EU is leading the work on the establishment of a special tribunal. Legal experts recently finalized the technical negotiations for the tribunal. The Council of Europe will soon start the process for political consideration of the documents to establish the tribunal, including its draft statute. The EU also supports the Register of Damages, established under the auspices of the Council of Europe. And we are actively working with international partners to set up a claims commission. Honourable members, with every life destroyed in Russia's war against Ukraine, there is a family close by, a family that lives on it in pain, searching for a peace of mind. When this war is over, and one day it will be, recovery will come not from only a reconstruction of the buildings in Bucha or Borodyanka or Bakhmut or Chasiv Yar or Donetsk or Mariupol. It will also come in the pursuit of justice and accountability for the heinous crimes committed by Russia. Because only justice will give every Ukrainian family the peace of mind they need to move on and rebuild their lives. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kallas. Now, on behalf of the EPP Group, Sandra Kalniete. 2 minutes.
Kolēģi, kopš Krievijas agresijas sākuma 22. gadā Ukrainas prokuratūra ir reģistrējusi vairāk nekā 150,000 kara noziegumu. Krievijas armija īsteno brutālu koloniālu karu,